30. Motions relating to methods of voting and the polls. The object of motions relating to methods of voting and the polls is to obtain a vote on a question in some form other than by voice, by show of hands, or by division, rising, or to otherwise direct how and when voting is to be conducted. This category includes motions that the vote be taken by ballot, that it be taken by roll call, the yeas and nays, that a standing vote be counted, tellers, or that the vote be taken by an unusual method, such as the use of black and white balls, or a sign ballot, see 4546. This category also includes motions relating to the conduct of a vote, such as those closing or reopening the polls, or ordering a recapitulation of a roll call vote, see 4551, or a recount, see 4541. A motion in this category is an incidental motion and subject to the rules given here only when a motion or election is pending or the vote on it has just been taken or announced. Otherwise, it is an incidental main motion. Standard descriptive characteristics. Incidental motions relating to methods of voting in the polls. 1. Take precedence over the motion being voted on or to be voted on. When applied to a vote which has just been taken, they can be moved from the moment the chair has reported the vote, see 443.1, until the announcement of the result is complete or immediately thereafter, see 45.9. They can be moved while an order for the previous question is in effect on the votes to which they apply. They yield to the privileged motions, and to a motion to lay on the table moved while the question to which they are applied is pending. 2. Can be applied to any motion on which the assembly is called upon to vote other than another motion relating to the methods of voting, or a motion to close or reopen the polls. Note: however, a motion to take a counted vote can be applied to any motion except to another motion to take a counted vote. Back to reading. No subsidiary motion can be applied to them except amend. Note: in principle, the previous question can also be applied to them to stop their amendment, though such a case will rarely arise in practice. Back to reading. 3 are out of order when another has the floor, but within the time limit specified in standard characteristic 1 above, a member can claim preference in being recognized for the purpose of making one of these motions when applied to a vote that has just been taken. 4 must be seconded, 5 are not debatable, but see 43, 31 through 32 regarding allowable explanation of an undebatable motion. 6 are amendable, 7 require a majority vote, except a motion to close the polls, which requires a 2/3 vote, and 8. The vote on a motion ordering that the polls be closed or reopened at a specified time can be reconsidered at any time before the order has been carried out. Otherwise, neither a vote to close the polls nor an affirmative vote to reopen the polls can be reconsidered. The same effect can be obtained by renewal by the opposite motion. A negative vote on a motion to reopen the polls can be reconsidered within the period during which a motion to reopen the polls could be made originally. Other motions relating to methods of voting can be reconsidered. Further rules and explanations. Methods of voting. In practice, the method of taking a vote usually can be agreed upon informally, but when different methods are suggested, they are usually treated not as amendments, but as filling blanks, the vote normally being taken first on the one taking the most time. For ways of voting, see 434 through 56 and Chapter 45. A member who believes that a secret vote will give a truer expression of the Assembly's will on a pending motion can move that the vote on the motion be taken by ballot. In order that the vote on a main motion be taken by ballot also applies to a vote on whether to postpone the main motion indefinitely. See also roll call vote, 45, 45, and following. Retaking a vote. As explained in Chapter 4, see 434 through 56, and Chapter 45, see 4511, the regular methods of initially taking a vote are by voice, viva voce, by rising, division, or by show of hands, the latter two of which may also be called upon by any member as a means of verifying an inconclusive vote that has just been taken, see Chapter 29, and the chair may order that a vote be counted or that an uncounted vote be retaken as a counted vote. After a question has been voted on in any of these ways, and within the time specified in standard characteristic 1 above, the Assembly can still order that the vote be taken again by some method other than any of the regular ones, see other methods of voting, 4517 and following, or that an uncounted vote be retaken as a counted vote. But after a vote has been taken by one of those other motions, or after the Assembly has ordered that a counted vote be taken, it is not in order to move that the vote be taken again. It is never in order to move that the vote on a question be taken a second time by the same method. Exhaustion of an order prescribing the method of voting. If the method of voting on a motion is ordered by the Assembly and not prescribed by the Assembly's rules, such an order is exhausted, 1. When the question on which it was imposed has been finally disposed of, or 2. At the conclusion of the session in which the order has been adopted, whichever occurs first. If, after such an order is exhausted, the motion to which it previously applied comes to a vote, for example during reconsideration or at a subsequent session, the order is no longer in effect. Notwithstanding the exhaustion of this order, however, a motion which has been voted on by ballot must also be voted on by ballot during any reconsideration of it, since no action is in order that would force the disclosure of a member's vote or views on the matter, see 4521. Likewise, if the Assembly adjourns after balloting for an office has begun, but before the election to that office is complete, see 46, 44 to 45, any additional votes needed to complete the election must also be taken by ballot, even if they are taken at a subsequent session. Closing or reopening the polls. Motions relating to opening and closing the polls are applicable only with respect to ballot votes. It is usually better to leave it to the chair to close the polls. When the vote is taken by ballot, as soon as the chair thinks that all have voted who wish to, he inquires if all have voted. If there is no response, he declares the polls closed, and the tellers proceed to count the vote. If a motion is made to close the polls when the voting has closed naturally, the chair can treat the motion as a unanimous consent request and declare the polls closed. In any case, a formal motion to close the polls may not be recognized until all have presumably voted. Like motions relating to the close of debate or nominations, the motion to close the polls requires a two-thirds vote. If members enter afterward and it is decided to reopen the polls, this can be done by a majority vote. The time at which the polls shall be closed or reopened can be specified in the motion or added by amendment.